In February, I went for an interview at Nottingham Trent University, which meant I had a lot of time on trains to reflect on what I wanted my FMP to include. This also meant that I got to stay with my friend Catherine, who's currently studying at the University of Nottingham. Back home, I decided to focus my theme of portraiture on exploring portraits of famous religious and fictional characters. I got Catherine to pose as the Virgin Mary, wearing a piece of blue fleece we found in the cupboard, and with a paper halo held by Lauren. I wanted to explore animation throughout my project, so I took one of the pictures of Catherine as the Virgin Mary and animated a moving halo around her, just as a little experiment. Then I was travelling again down to Manchester for another interview. And then back home again, I carried on exploring the theme of fictional characters and portraits and got my friend Phoebe to pose as Ophelia for me. Phoebe was actually a perfect model because a lot of portraits of Ophelia depict her as having red or ginger hair, despite Shakespeare never specifying what colour hair Ophelia had. And this is me asking her how she felt afterwards. That same day, Phoebe then took photos of me recreating some of Frida Kahlo's self-portraits. I found this process really helpful in developing my ideas about portraiture, especially imagery and symbolism within portraiture, as Frida Kahlo's self-portraits are often really heavy in symbolism and imagery relating to herself and her life. And then when we were done taking those pictures, we went and played in the snow.
You ready? We're gonna now go back. You got it.
In these first few weeks of my project, I definitely focused mostly on experimentation and trying out lots of different ideas, playing with different mediums and ideas around portraiture. I think this was a really useful way to set about this project because it allowed me to play with a lot of different things and not be tied down before I had come up with a specific idea about my project. Definitely recreating the portraits and playing around with animation, photography and drawing was really helpful in letting me lay out some ideas before I started to focus on more specific channels for my FMP. Looking at different artists and how they work and their processes and inspirations and their use of symbolism and materials was really helpful in looking at portraiture from the perspective of an artist and how different artists differ in their creation of portraits. Looking back, I maybe could have focused a little more on creating my own original work in this stage of my project rather than just recreating other portraits and just looking at other artists. Though I do think that this was really helpful in coming up with ideas by seeing how other artists work. Beginning this process of trying to document everything I'm doing and taking a lot of video from life has really helped me in realizing that I do want video to be part of my FMP and that I want to record life and record people as part of my FMP, and that it's really useful for looking back and reflecting on. Going forward, I definitely want to continue recording a lot of my processes and taking video that I can later use for my FMP and for evaluation purposes, and looking back on what I've been doing and thinking about what I want to do in the future. I also would like to carry on these ideas of looking at how other artists create portraits and why they create portraits specifically, what motivates them, and what portraiture is to me. I think that's what I want to explore next. Why I'm interested in portraiture and why portraiture is an important medium for capturing who a person is and the different ways that it can be used to capture a person. I also want to go on next to create more of my own work and to explore more with ideas that I'm bringing to the table, creating portraits myself and exploring that and seeing how that helps me come up with more ideas for my FMP.